Coming up on Kochie's Business Builders, breaking into the lucrative Chinese market. It's not as hard as you think. A fashion designer with a creative cash flow solution, and a 30-year-old self-made millionaire has some great practical advice on building wealth. Welcome back to Kochie's Business Builders. We have a terrific show for you today. Now, we all know that running a small business isn't easy. There's a lot of work behind every hard-won success. So make sure you're getting all the support you can. It's all about surrounding yourself with the right people. Why not join your local Chamber of Commerce? Create a small business group in your local area, or make contact with your local government to find out about potential grants and services. Even your local Australia Post has fantastic online tools to help you save time and money. We're here to help you as well and love hearing your small business tips and stories, so keep them coming. We have a great 3-part series on where to find the right small business support on kochiesbusinessbuilders.com.au. It's there right now, so visit our site and don't forget to subscribe to our free newsletter. Coming up, how a Sydney-based fashion designer is doubling her revenue every year. Hear her practical advice about how to get ahead and stay on top of your cash flow. Plus, an innovative toddler footwear range are ready to take on the massive Chinese market. It isn't as hard as you think, but it's all about knowing the right steps to take. Minnow Designs is the brainchild of 2 friends, a fashion designer and a marketing guru, and is a small business that makes beach shoes for kids. The shoes are designed to protect the feet of toddlers against hot sand, shells and rocks while they explore sand and sea. With 3 years of steady growth behind them, the founders have their sights set on the huge China market. So we sent in Olivia Wang to give her tips.
Hi, Olivia. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So these are the booties for tiny little feet. They're made out of neoprene, so really soft and pliable. You can bend them. So we've designed these especially for toddlers.
We have an e-commerce arm and a wholesale arm, both of which are doing quite well. We've got a pretty solid business in Australia, and now we're looking to expand.
So great story. When you're talking about expansion, what are you thinking? What's the plan for your expansion?
But we're kind of still feeling the market, and we keep thinking China because it's the fastest growing economy in the world. Our first question is there even a market for Australian apparel? And how do we get there, like logistically?
We always like to remind the client to think twice before we actually get into this market, because there could be a potential, it could be an energy taking, it could be an opportunity cost if there is not market for a lot of business over there. So first of all, for example, have you registered your IP before you get into Chinese market?
We're in the process of doing that now.
Oh, that's fantastic. And how do you think the best way to evaluate the market size?
Probably what we need to do is understand what other labels, what other Australian apparel labels are in the market, how they're performing, what the drivers of growth are.
Chinese market think Australia is the number 4 preferable country for them to buy the brand from. So first of all, congratulations, we are from the runners country.
I know that from my own research that there's lots of kind of e-commerce platforms available to us.
Can you please name a few?
Oh, so I know that there's, Tmall and VIP.com are big ones for more high-end labels, and a multitude of other platforms. We don't even know where to begin.
Tmall is a very difficult platform to get into. The reason for that is this a platform for an established brand.
Okay, yep.
It's not for a startup, it's not for entrepreneur, at least not when you haven't had that strong demand from Chinese end consumer end.
Yep.
I think there are a number of different partners you may need to partner with. So first of all, for a business, I would recommend get onto WeChat. 95% of the people use WeChat as the priority tool and the channel for them to sell, something. But to get to know someone in Chinese community will be quite important, to get to know their events, because this could be a strategy for you to find out whether your products want to get to that channel, or maybe you will find a very strong partner to help you to run into the market.
Minnow Designs has cleverly cornered a gap in the market. Tackling China is next on her list. Let's find out how she can do it. According to new research from tech provider GoDaddy, Australian small business owners and entrepreneurs would prefer to remain nimble than to implement aggressive growth strategies. 50% of respondents in a recent survey said their ideal business size is 5 or less, while less than 20% said overseas expansion was an integral part of the business success. And in the true resilient spirit of small business owners, 44% said they would try again if their business failed. When it comes to the technology side of things, almost 70% said technology has made it easier to become an entrepreneur, with websites ranking higher, 31%, than social media, 18%, in terms of building online awareness about their brand. It's not just about awareness, though. 41% of Australian business are already using their domain names and websites as their primary sales channels. Staying nimble and adopting tech gives you the flexibility to manage your own strategy, adapt quickly, and steer your own digital profile. Wins all round. Next up, fashion designer Mariam Sadiq tells us how she solved the most common issue facing small business, cash flow. We'll be back with more soon. Like a lot of us, Mariam Sadiq's toughest challenge with her small business has been dealing with cash flow. So she used her creativity to come up with a fantastic solution. Mariam realised she could offer a high-price, low-volume couture range to help fund her fashion label. Then, any profit made was put straight back into the major business. It's clever stuff.
Mariam Sadiq is high-end day wear, evening wear and made-to-measure, as well as this new bridal line that I have. So we've had the privilege of dressing a lot of Aussie icons as well as international, and it's amazing to do custom pieces with them because you get to mix your aesthetic with theirs and it just creates something amazing. It's really rewarding. So I started my brand in 2013 whilst I was still doing a 9-to-5 job. And then a year and a half into that job, I decided, no, I'm going to dive in head first and do it full time. And, you know, at the beginning, it was just myself and my mum. Now I'm fortunate in the past couple of months, I've got a team to 6. I've got 3 in production and now 3 in the boutique with me. And I hope to grow that number in the coming years as the business grows. I was getting a lot of requests online through my website saying, can we come and see the product? And being in a studio, it wasn't possible, like a home studio, it wasn't possible. So the best thing I ever did was actually opening up to the public a boutique centrally located for them to touch and feel, because there's so much detail and I feel like a picture can't capture that. So as a student, I would drive past and picture my name on the street. And so my greatest achievement was opening up this boutique and, you know, being amongst Australia's best. What I do is I create 1 seasonal collection a year, as well as injections in the shop, and we like to always keep it fun and introduce a new sample and see how the customers react, if they like it, if they're drawn to it, and if they're not drawn to it, then we know it's a dud, and then that's how we experiment the pieces. And then what we do is, you know, if it's a popular one, we create different colorways and just go from there. And then, you know, sometimes pieces turn into signature pieces, and it's been great. So the toughest challenge was cash flow. So being able to, you know, make enough to put it back into the business. So I realized earlier on that cash flow was super important. So anyone with cash flow struggles, I think you should look outside the box, see what your business is missing, and think of creative ways to bring the money in. The way I overcame cash flow was by thinking outside the box and creating made to measure, which is at a higher price point. Clients can choose whatever they want, keeping in line with my aesthetic. And so this funded the collections and anything else that I needed to move the business forward. So this was the best thing for me, and I've still kept that because that's, you know, ongoing cash flow, which is what you need to move forward. My advice to other entrepreneurs is be focused, decide exactly what you want to do and build from there. A lot of times you can have 100 ideas and you want to do all of them. I don't recommend that. I would choose one thing and grow on that and speak to everyone in the industry, other small businesses. There's an online community that you can speak to, Small Business First. Just do your research and, there's so much knowledge, there's so many little things that you need in a business to make it work. It's not just designing and creating and all that. I mean, we do all that fun stuff, but there's a lot involved in business, a lot of hard work. I set myself apart from the competition by basically just having no common rules, just doing what I like at my pace. It's 24/7, it's a lot of hard work, but I love that, and I love that I can work at 12 p.m, I can work at 2 a.m. So we just, keep developing our samples, and we just create new and amazing things. I think it's amazing. The most rewarding thing about running my business is seeing the product on the client and just it all come together. It's amazing, and the little text the next day is priceless. I love my job. It's not a job for me. So every day is like living the dream and just working towards that dream.
Coming up, Livia Wang from Access China shares her important checklist for business success in China. Plus, Jane Liu, founder of online fashion retailer Showpo, shares her 3 best tips to help get your business to the top. Earlier in the show, Livia Wang spoke to Stacey Fisher from Minnow Designs about cracking the Chinese market. Let's get straight back into it.
We consult about Chinese market every day. And unfortunately or luckily, it changes every day too. It's very important for you to find a partner. Have you thought about that? To find a partner, either a distributor or an agency or an employee could be one of the solutions, but whether he has that capacity or ability to help you to go further, it could be another question mark.
It's quite a broad skill set, isn't it? We need help to get our products from the border zone, to the hands of the end users. Would it be worth employing someone to help us with that, a native Chinese speaker to run our WeChat channel as a start?
WeChat is a thing, we know it's big, but how? Where? They are invisible. And we call them shoppers, or we call them daigous. We call them buying agents.
Okay.
But when they start,
are they the ones just for clarity? So did you say daigou?
Daigous.
Daigou. Are they the entrepreneurs who come to Australia, will fill a suitcase with something and then go home?
Or local Chinese.
Or local Chinese who
use
will
that
send
as a
things.
job.
Oh, right. Okay.
Exactly. So that's a very big community in Australia. We think that there are probably around 40,000 to 60,000 of them right in Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane, Adelaide.
How do you tap into that?
Those shoppers trade or transact their business in a very invisible way from your point of view.
Yeah.
Either you are in the world or you are out. So it's not actually a secret in the Chinese community. We communicate every day on WeChat channel. But because you are not their WeChat friends, it's like you are not someone else's Facebook followers, you will never get to know what they are doing. So I think in this type of business, first of all, we need to identify the market size. We need to leverage the local resources. Then we identify who could be your potential partners, like Australia Post. But fundamentally, make sure we registered the IP before we're doing anything.
Yeah, great. Thank you. That makes things so much clearer.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Isn't it great to see how small business are showcasing their local products internationally? Just goes to show, while it isn't always easy to crack global markets like China, it can be done. It really is important to look before you leave. As Livia said, it's important to identify the market size and potential partners, leverage local resources, and most importantly, register your company's IP before you do anything else.
Hi, I'm Jane Liu, the founder and CEO of Showpo.com. Showpo is one of Australia's leading fashion brands and online stores, sell to over 50 countries around the world. So my top tips in business are, 1, to know your numbers. Now, I know that numbers are not that sexy, but it's really important to know the key metrics of your business if you want to grow it. And 2, to of course, always follow your gut when hiring people. Now, you need to make sure that they understand your company values and they are someone that you actually want to work with and someone that you know will stick around. So follow your gut. And 3, to have a great social media strategy. Now, Showpo is built on social media, but I think for any business now, you cannot get away from it. So have a great strategy and make sure you execute it well. Hope you enjoy these tips and good luck in business.
Now, are you ready for another burning business question? Ask Kochie will be right up. Don't forget to send us your video question through kochiesbusinessbuilders.com.au. Small Business First is partnered with Software Sinai to offer quality websites from $59 a month. Check the website for more details. Hope you liked it. I thought it was a fantastic show. Everyone seems to want to get a foot into the lucrative Chinese market. It's interesting to know that it isn't as simple as it appears. There are a lot of steps you need to take and research you need to do before you invest any real capital. Next, I'll be getting stuck into another viewer question. Don't forget to sign up to our free newsletter at kochiesbusinessbuilders.com.au.
A massive 93% of businesses spend money on software that is underused or not being used at all. A software asset manager can help make sure you're getting the most out of your tech, but it's also handy to look at what you currently use. Using free software can save money, so it's worth looking at Google Drive with Docs, which is word processing, Sheets, which is spreadsheets, and Slides, which is a PowerPoint alternative. LibreOffice is another good free option. If your business needs more than the basics, Microsoft Office 365 can cost anywhere between $85 to about $210 a year and comes with a suite of apps such as Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and SharePoint. So before bringing in more tech, do a quick stock take. What do you use? How? And who uses it? You might already be well-resourced.
Welcome back to Ask Kochie, and we have a great video from one of our viewers today. It's a question that every business can relate to, and Cindy Batchelor from NAB is here to help answer it. Cindy, good to see you again. Let's take a look at the question.
Hi Kochie, Ryan Ebert here from Health Logic Physiotherapy. We've just opened a clinic in Melbourne and started our business. We've hired some staff and our question's around cash flow. Really wondering if you've got any advice or tips in managing cash flow, especially in the first 6 months. As I said, we've got some staff now, we've got rent to pay obviously, and we're just building customers. So any tips and tricks to survive would be great. Thanks.
Oh, right. Cash flow is the bane of all of our lives, Cindy.
It's a great question from Ryan because cash flow is really important when you're setting up a business. Cash is king. It is your lifeblood. It actually keeps the business flowing. So the first thing for Ryan to actually look to is, does he have a good business plan? Does he understand his revenue or his anticipated revenue and what those expenses are? Yeah. He mentioned he had some staff he'd hired. What sort of flexibility does he have in the expenses that he's actually going to undertake for the business? Because you've got to be able to marry those two things up. Yep. But a couple of things that really come to mind in terms of tips for Ryan, and one is actually a tip I got called holes in the diary. Oh. And it's something that dentists do really well. So when you go to a dentist, they don't have any time between appointments because time between appointments actually extends appointments and you lose potential revenue opportunities. Right. So if you don't watch those holes in the diary, they start to become potholes, which cause you real issues. So really making sure you are managing your diary. And that's challenging often for an employee who's a physiotherapist who's actually then going to go and start a business. Yep. Very different. So I think that's really important for you. One of the other things that's very simple is asking for referrals. So as you actually have patients coming through and you're doing a great job for them, ask for referrals and then you're able to actually continue that revenue churning along. So I think that's really important too. Some really good tips to focus on that cash flow early.
Yeah, and also Ryan's in a business as well that does get paid immediately, does it? And you get your rebates from your health funds and all that sort of stuff. So invest in that sort of technology, the high caps and the like.
High caps and FPOS. So
Yep.
FPOS actually enables you to make those payments at the point of sale. So Ryan can collect the cash then,
Yep.
and then your patient can actually claim it back through high caps. So those two things technologically are critical for cash flow.
And also, something we do in this business is that we have a good relationship with our banker, because, say, when wages are due on the Friday and you've got a whole bunch of people paying invoices on the Monday, to be able to say, look, you know, can I extend the overdraft for 3 days just until the money comes in? And that's invaluable.
Absolutely, and it's really just having that open line of communication with your banker so they understand the business, what the cash flow cycle looks like, and can support you, particularly in that first year.
Cindy, great advice. Thank you for that. Ryan, good luck. Keep us up to date with how you're going. And look, there are online tools to help you improve your cash flow. NAB has a cash flow improvement calculator. So just go to the website there and you'll find the link. And finally, build that great relationship with your banker. Tell us how you're going. That's it for us for this week. We'll catch you next time. Hey, thanks for dropping by the KBB YouTube channel. If you want a whole lot more where this came from, press the subscribe button and it will open a Pandora's box of great videos that not only are educational, full of great advice, but also really inspiring. Just what we need as small business owners.